how North Korea makes money while sanctioned by Hoser. We're gonna look at this. That sounds interesting. Honestly, I think they probably just do. You should either get much. They probably work a lot with China. That is the first assumption I probably have, and probably other Asian countries that are highly corrupt. At least that's what I believe. That's what I believe. So yeah, let's see how they make money. I'm assuming illegal activities. That is, if they aren't really making money, right? Like they don't compare really to the dollar, right?
North Korea spends a lot of money on its military. They have the world's fifth largest army, they're one of the only nuclear armed nations, and let's just say, the military is an important part of this communist monarchy's public image.
Yeah, and of course Kim is very important to their public image because consider this. Consider this. At the end of the day, they must glaze this man beyond belief because he was driving a car at 3 and he never takes a dump or takes a piss. It just is what it is. Women cheat? No. Just specific women. Western women. Anyways, we're gonna continue. Interesting. But yeah, that's him.
The Workers' Party of Korea
That's my goat.
spends about $10 billion a year on its military, somewhere between 30 and 40% of the country's total production. But have you ever thought about how they get that money and how they get the money to import goods? It's a country with very few businesses to tax, and it's barred from most international trades through UN sanctions. So where does this cash come from? Well, it's the task of the infamous Office 39 to manage North Korea's.
So I'm probably assuming, right? China and Russia. They make business with China and Russia, and that is how they make money. Or maybe they operate some scam stuff, but that's about it.
Foreign currency earnings and fundraise them any way they see fit. That has led to some quite bizarre ways for a government to raise revenue, including training hackers to steal cryptocurrency, peddling drugs.
Yeah, illegal activity, like I said. Makes sense. You should go to North Korea. And yeah, I'm gonna solve their fertility crisis. Anyways, importing goods. Yeah, importing the goods.
Creating global restaurant chains, and sending spies to the casino. Here are some of the ways North Korea continues to fund its regime after being kicked out of the global economy. Riddle me this. Why can you be sent to a labor camp for buying pine mushrooms from a local seller? That's right, to monopolize their foreign currency earnings. Trade has been North Korea's lifeline for years, despite the government's official policy being that of juche, or self-reliance. Some of this is through crops which are primarily found in this region, like with those pine mushrooms or ginseng, and others are materials China needs to keep their industry going, mostly coal, iron, and electricity. These have.
Okay, yeah, like I said, with China, right? With the help of China and Russia, I'm fairly convinced. It's like Russia receives goods, Koreans receive corn. Because remember, according to some sources, North Korean soldiers went to Russia and got addicted to corn immediately. Power of women with big boobs. No man is safe from it. No man is safe from boobs. Like NSFB. Not safe from boobs. You mushrooms? Yeah, I agree. Mushrooms aren't bad. You're alone on this one.
Historically provided North Korea with much of the cash it needed to import all the stuff, well, it couldn't self-reliably make, and funded their weapons programs. But Kim Jong-un may have flown a little too close to the sun, starting North Korea's now legendary nuclear.
Icarus! He's the North Korean Icarus. Do you recommend living in Russia? No. First of all, it's cold. Like, I'm good, bro. That's the first thing. Second thing, you couldn't start a family there. It's just like divorce rate is at 80%. It's crazy. Why would you go there? Dating is not good. Economy is not amazing. It's okay, but not amazing. And it's just cold.
Weapons program, regularly testing new generation missiles and flaunting them in their military parades. In total, they have made around 50 nuclear warheads with ranges capable of hitting the entire United States, destabilizing the region and giving this one family insane power over its people. And so, they've been subjected to sanction after sanction after sanction. Those who trade with them, sanctioned. The banks they use to launder money, sanctioned. The worst have been from the UN Security Councils in 2017, when they voted to ban all exports of coal, iron, and seafood from North Korea, costing them over $1 billion a year in lost.
Damn, they really just said, fuck these people. They really just said, fuck these people. We're gonna sanction the shit out of them.
Export earnings. Here were their exports to China before the sanctions, which by the way makes up 95% of their total trade. Here they are after 20.
Damn! That plunged quite a bit. Wow, that's kind of diabolical. Damn, yeah, it's over. It's so over.
2017, $2.5 billion to $300 million. So two things came as a result from this. One is they've started exporting some weird stuff. In 2023, making up almost 60% of their exports were wigs, fake beards, and fake eyelashes.
Chances are, the wig you wear is from North Korea, the fake beard you have is from North Korea, and your eyelashes are from North Korea. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know that.
That's right. They sold $165 million worth of wigs to China, along with non-sanctioned minerals like tungsten and molybdenum. Meanwhile, while they actually need the money, they imported over $2 billion of goods from them, including rice, fertilizer, and their number one import that year, human hair, $160 million of it. What's the point of using all this labor and resources to essentially just be China's wig factory and profiting only $5 million from it?
Are you implying that Kim Jong-un is bald? Baldy, how does it feel funding North Korea? That's interesting. Bald, he's bald.
The second thing to come out of sanctions is the fact that these trades haven't stopped, they've only slowed. Satellite imagery has shown North Korean cargo vessels full of coal sail out from ports like Nampo and return full of oil. To avoid being caught, ships carrying cargo to North Korea will travel out to barren waters and transfer their hulls ship to ship as many as 3 different times to eventually end up on North Korean flagged vessels. The money then flows through their networks of subsidiaries and shell companies through shady Hong Kong and Macau businessmen's financial networks, and as a result, North Korea has ended up
Interesting. Imagine living in North Korea. Yeah, that'd be diabolical.
breaking its sanctions every year since they were imposed. Despite being so closed off, North Korea has allowed select cities to be relatively more open as a way to attract foreign investment to the country. Since
Of course, the polar bear is pulling up, right? The Russians already. Let's see what they do with the Russians.
Collapse of the Soviet Union, they've opened 29 of these development zones. The biggest and best is the Rason Economic and Trade Zone on the northeast border with Russia. This little enclave has a few one-of-a-kind things found in North Korea, like Golden Triangle Bank, the only place you can get a debit card in the country.
Interesting. Wait, you can only get a debit card at one location?
Its own mobile network, a casino, and the Rason International Trade Fair. That's right, North Korea's very own international market from international destinations like China and Russia. To be honest, this fair is more of a place for Chinese business leaders to network with Korean central planners. So from its opening in 1991 to the 2010s, it's estimated that Rason has attracted around $150 million to the region, or about $5 million a year. And just look at this website. There's attractions like the fair, the textile factory,
I guess they can make actually quite a bit of money. Not amazing, but still.
the Russo-Korean Friendship Bridge, and the Tri-Border Area. Who wouldn't want to visit? There are other zones open for international money too, ones that have been a little more successful in attracting tourists. Tourists besides Russian gamblers. Take the Mount Kumgang tourist region for example. It opened in 2002 as a joint zone between North and South Korea to accommodate all the South Korean tourists who are coming up to see the mountains. Taken on.
Okay, you are telling me that there are relationships between North and South Korea when it comes to tourism. So they hate South Korea, but they are completely fine with taking tourist money. That is some hypocrisy if I've ever seen one.
As an investment by the Hyundai Group, nearly 2 million ended up visiting the area. Until the South Korean government banned tourists from going in 2008 after one of their citizens was shot and killed by the North Korean army. It was officially closed by the North.
Never mind. Well, that was short-lived. That was short fun.
In 2024 after dismantling its resorts facilities. There's also the Kaesong Industrial Complex, which on the border with the South was another joint investment between the two countries.
Until South Korea said nah. Well, they need that money literally.
The South Korean government developed much of the infrastructure the complex needed and even gave the firms who opened there perks like low interest loans and state subsidies to incentivize peace between the countries. At its peak, it produced around $560 million worth of goods a year, but it shut down in 2016
Shut down after what? Somebody died again?
After a North Korean missile test. And although their foreign investment crashed after sanctions, losing what seemed to be a steady income of around $100 million a year, that hasn't stopped Kim from dreaming big. He's recently been spotted on a new beach resort, taking pictures with his daughter, the presumed next supreme leader. Who knows, maybe this one won't end up being a
Guys? He has a daughter. I'm single. She's single, probably. I may not have a brain, gentlemen, but I think I have an idea. I think North Korea needs another heir to the throne. I think I can do this.
complete failure.
Obviously, crypto. What else could you do, right? Crypto was mentioned earlier. Drugs was also mentioned earlier, so let's see.
With sanctions cutting into most of their export revenue, Office 39 has been known to get into some quite sketchy lines of business to raise the money the country needs for its roughly $2 billion trade deficits. In recent years, the most lucrative way to do this has been to find computer-oriented thinkers at army schools, send them off to training schools in the.
What the fuck are these PCs, bro? What are these big fat TV looking screens, bro? At least they got mouses and fucking. At least they got computers at this point.
The Asian tech world and have them commit various cyber crimes. North Korea deploys their so-called IT warriors across its networks in Russia, China, and Laos, each of which can earn up to $300,000 a year. Back in 2014, the warriors hacked Sony and extorted their executives with the threat of leaking internal documents over the release of the interview.
Oh, excuse me.
Did you just shart?
It got a little more serious when they hacked the Bangladeshi central bank in 2016, draining around $950 million of reserves. To launder it through their web of Macau-based banks, it's reported that North Korean agents had to sit in casinos for weeks playing baccarat with the stolen money to clean it. That hard work was for nothing though. Over 90% of the money was returned, which has led more modern agents to focus instead on cryptocurrency heists. Unlike digital bank reserves, which can often be swapped around.
Interesting. So they are very much trying to it's just very interesting. It's just very interesting. So they do have something.
And control Z if something goes wrong. If you move cryptocurrency, it is gone. In 2024, stealing crypto generated over $1.3 billion.
1.3 billion? They've been locking in. They've been locking really in. Crazy.
For the regime, with a UN report suggesting that about 40% of their nuclear weapons program is now funded by illicit cyber means. Out of all stolen cryptocurrency in 2024, Chainalysis estimated that 60% of it was taken by North Korean agents. 60% of all cryptocurrency-based crime done by North Korea used to fund.
They are locking in. Your money, your crypto money goes into their atomic bombs. Who would have guessed?
Fund its nukes and missiles. What a world. The problem's not getting any better either. In the past few years, they've stolen $41 million from Stake.com, around $305 million from the
even from a gambling site. That's funny. DMM Bitcoin.
DMM Bitcoin exchange, shutting it down, and their best work yet, $620 million from Axie Infinity players, an online game which seems to be like a mix between Pokemon and NFTs. Crypto is still a very decentralized world. If you talk to the most ardent crypto supporters, I think that's the point. And it's still a very new asset, meaning it can be very hard to secure and regulate its trade. The US has tried with sanctions on aids and websites like Blender.io, which North Korea used to launder its illicit currency, but it's not enough to stop their increasing hacks.
They cannot be stopped. All the cryptocurrency will be North Korean.
The unfortunate truth is most of the stolen crypto is stolen by compromised private keys, a code needed to access your digital wallet. If they somehow get access to this code, they have access to your money. Sometimes the agents are hired with fake identities at tech firms across the world. Sometimes they conspire with Americans to install remote work software on company laptops. Their favorite way to do this seems to be disguising themselves as job recruiters and targeting employees who have access to their company's private keys. You'll get a nice job offer on LinkedIn, copy the link they send you to your GitHub page, and boom, you're compromised. $300 million gone. So if any of you watching are senior software engineers with access to a decently sized company's cryptocurrency wallet, maybe take your job offers in person. Crypto is their new moneymaker, but they've been sanctioned in the past and have historically run some other lucrative crime rings. One of the more famous is their US dollar counterfeits. Back in the 80s, North Korea designed and distributed a near-perfect replica of American $100 bills, smuggling them over the border into China. Seniors at the Banco Delta Asia in Macau were complicit in laundering these fake supernotes, with North Korea collecting about $15 to $25 million a year from this.
They are just making money, actually. It's obviously not enough to save their ass.
Scheme. That was enough to help them buy luxuries during the 1980s downturn, but not enough to mess with America's monetary system like they may have hoped. In 1996, the Treasury shut down the operation once and for all by redesigning the $100 bill to prevent future supernotes. So hey, it did get the US government stressing at least a little bit. One State Department official said that if North Korea put the same quality into conventional export goods as they did in replicating the $100 bill, there's no doubt that they could have been an industrial powerhouse by now. What about a narco state? Since the 1970s, many
Finally, we're getting into the drug stuff here. Finally, we've been waiting.
diplomats have been arrested for smuggling and distributing drugs on the streets through North Korean embassies. Diplomatic mail is immune to search and seizure, so they've been suspected to carry drugs like opium and meth, as well as other shady things like guns and gold. To push these, there's been a statewide program to manufacture these drugs and export them for cash. Many
30 minutes. 30 minutes is all that Trump needs to get him out of there. Nah, they probably blow up everything. They probably blow up everything if you steal their leader. Not happening. Not in this timeline, that's for sure.
embassies even had quotas of how many drugs they needed to sell. At its height, this empire possibly made up to $700 million a year. But since the 2000s, many of the state-sponsored laboratories have been defunded, leaving the country with many small labs and a surplus of people who knew how to make meth. Without the state assistance, these people have instead manufactured and sold them to the domestic market, with opiates and amphetamines now seen by many as alternative medicines in the country, since many lack access to proper medicine and healthcare.
Damn, drugs just become alternative medicine. Well, the more you know.
They're apparently just seen like a supercharged energy drink. They've even become popular
Supercharged energy drink. They become popular in, I'm guessing... You're not gonna tell me China, are you?
Lunar New Year's gifts as a result.
New Year's gifts! Drugs, peak.
And despite crackdowns on borders and production, the country is left with a drug problem that neither the poor nor rich have any incentive in fixing. The country's also been known to push weapons around. North Korean missiles, guns, and drones have popped up in some very non-Korean areas. But most recently has been their dealing with Russia. After a meeting between Kim and Putin, trade relations have increased between the two countries.
Two bros! The Russian homie and the fat Korean. That's crazy. That's funny. That is funny. That is funny. That is funny. I'm sorry, but that's funny. Like, imagine your doorbell rings, right, and you look through the thing, right, through the hole, and just these two pulling up with some kind of alcohol or something, like the homies. Look at them. Look at them. That's kind of funny. Like they're about to invite you to go out and drink. That's kind of funny. That can't be a real picture now, is it? That can't be a real picture.
With reports of Rasson's exporting zone filled with goods both to and from Russia, bypassing sanctions, of course. Bloomberg has estimated that this could include up to $1 billion worth of ammunition to aid Russia in their aggressive war against Ukraine. North Korean-made missiles have been fired at Ukraine, and around 12,000 North Korean soldiers have been sent to the front lines, so it seems the war is a money-making opportunity for the Kim regime. Their average daily crypto heists have even halved in value after the Kim-Putin meeting, so it does seem like it's working. Perhaps Russia, not China, will be their new sugar daddy.
Their new sugar daddy. It'd be cool if it was real, kinda, yeah. It kinda has some aura.
The last resource the country has is its people. Although there have been hundreds of thousands of North Koreans sent over the world to work as construction workers or miners or fake IT workers, it's been limited.
Please still make the miners work. Anyways.
After UN sanctions prohibited North Korean labor from being exported. Now, workers are limited to their close friend network of China, Russia, and Laos. As an example, they sent 150 workers to construct bridges and communications networks in the Russian-occupied Donbass region, where each laborer must pay the government $1 million North Korean.
Donbass, Russia, but really it's Ukraine. Well, you can say Russia, they're never getting that back. All the places that have been occupied by Russia and Ukraine will stay with Russia. They're never getting them back.
Won a month, about $1,000. Or they could send it back to their families via diplomats, who usually charge a 25 to 30% commission fee. Ouch. One of the weirder schemes was through state-sponsored restaurants, the Pyongyang restaurant, which popped up over the major cities of Asia. It's thought that these restaurants are little more than money laundering fronts, and many have been shut down both from sanctions and an issue of staff attempting to flee the country. From 130 locations, less than 20 remain open, mostly for their IT workers to send cash through. And apparently, so I've heard, the food is not that great.
Can I refund now?
One final way the country raises money, but this revenue is not for the regime, it's for the people, through defectors. Around 33,000 refugees have left North Korea, and most of those people are singular defectors who still have their families back home.
So you are telling me that they may send money to those people and take the money, right? I'm assuming that that's the case, right? Like holding them hostage, whatever.
Through a network of Chinese, South Korean, and North Korean brokers, it is possible to send money home, as around 60% of defectors have reported to do. Smuggled Chinese phones can contact their telecommunications networks, so with the right people involved, a defector can be connected with their family to agree on a sum and have it be transferred through Chinese and South Korean bank accounts. The family then sends a receipt through a photo or video of them with the cash, and the broker takes a hefty cut, up to 50% of the remittance. Of course, this all has to be done secretly and carefully, often in remote locations and with highly trusted broker networks, because if caught, the broker and sender's families could be sent to jail or prison camps over espionage charges. It's one of the
Or just death, straight up. Or just dying.
greatest tragedies of the regime. While Office 39 agents are tasked with raising billions of dollars of revenue through mainly illegal means to fund the state's weapons programs, ordinary people have to risk their safety just to receive money from their family. The rough amount of money it takes to feed a family of 3 for a year, the money the state can send you to prison camp for subverting its foreign exchange monopoly? Only $400.
That is not worth it. Wow. Okay, that's the end of the video. So this is how North Korea makes money. Through ties with Russia and China. That is very obvious. That makes very much sense, right? That isn't ridiculous, right? These defectors who send money back. Stealing cryptocurrency. Very interesting, right? Makes very much sense. Stealing gambling money. And military. That's how they very much make money. And then, of course, drugs, right? That's a classic, right? For every corrupt country, that's a classic. Anyways, interesting. I did not know that. Like, comment, and subscribe.